One morning, we dove a site that had this eerie layer over the shallows that resembled fog. Actually, it went down the reef a bit as well. The winds were down for a few days, and there was very little current, so perhaps it was some sort of algae bloom. Still, it did seem like we were diving in a Stephen King movie. Last month, we opened with a mini submarine, which isn't something we see very often. This month, we saw these Sea Trek helmets underwater in the shallows at the end of one of our morning dives. We were able to see them in action on our second dive, as one group was returning while we headed out to the reef, and then a second group was heading out as we were returning back to shore. Different dive site, different kind of underwater experience. It was déjà vu all over again as we came across these underwater scooters anchored by a pier on a morning dive. On our afternoon dive, we got to watch a couple of people get set up and take off across the bay. There are so many ways to experience life underwater. Outside of these human-related first-time captures, we also saw a number of new sea animals too. This spotted moray eel caught our attention because it appeared to be getting cleaned. When we got closer, we saw there were a pair of golden coral shrimp. Unfortunately for the eel, the shrimp transferred their attention to the plankton attracted by our lights. This caught the corner of our eye as we were swimming over the reef one day. We're not sure what it is. Perhaps a chain of pelagic tunicates or other formation. If you recognize it, please leave a comment below. This isn't the first time we've seen a touch-me-not sponge or sea pearls. That said, this particular touch-me-not sponge had quite probably 100 sea pearls embedded in it. Some were small, others were large. We're not sure how or why such a concentration of sea pearls occurred. They could have drifted into the sponge's crevices and grown, or maybe they stuck to the outside and the sponge grew around them. Either way, it was the first time we've seen so many in one place. Okay, so great star coral isn't new either. However, bright orange fluorescent coloring during the day is. We actually saw this at two different sites. We asked around, and one very helpful Facebook user in a coral information group described it as solar-stimulated orange-red fluorescence that is spectrally similar to a variety of fluorescent proteins expressed by corals. They also passed along a link to a Science magazine article on the topic, which you can find in the description below. When a night dive gives you lemons, you can still make the best of it. This sponge peppermint shrimp inside a branching vase sponge, outlined by the arm of a brittle star, was a nice find. But bloodworms attracted by our lights were swimming all around. As we were filming, one got a little too close and the shrimp was able to catch it. We didn't hang around for the meal. Similarly, this elegant anemone took advantage of the bloodworm chaos, and watching its approach to feeding was fascinating. Once it snags its prey, it very quickly rolls that part of itself inward, drawing the food into its mouth. Here's another one, but we'll slow it down to half speed. Kind of cool, right? Continuing with the food theme, we've seen lots of flamingo tongues over the years, but this one was chowing down on a sea rod at an angle that allowed us to capture a lot of the action we don't normally see. On the right side, you can see its eyes at the end of those two antennae, and you can see the round siphon used for breathing. Fun fact, although considered predatory, flamingo tongues actually only eat small portions of gorgonians before moving on to the next one, allowing each one to recover. As we were coming back from the reef one day, Leslie spotted this massive convoy of needlefish swimming north across the shallows. They actually let me get kind of close. Perhaps they felt they could take me with their numbers, which, by the way, were in the hundreds. Mantis shrimp are special finds, which is kind of odd because they seem to make their homes everywhere on the reef. This one had a nice hole on a steep slope. Well, it will be a nice hole once it finishes cleaning out all the rocks and sand. Hopefully, it'll be done soon. That's a pretty big pile of rubble already. There were quite a few moray eels out and about this month. We followed this free-swimming golden-tail moray eel for almost 10 minutes as it moved through the rocky shallows. It didn't seem to be hunting because it wasn't lingering too long in one place. This chain moray eel didn't leave itself nearly as exposed, preferring to swim between the rocks and hug the edges of coral heads as it was looking for a meal. And this spotted moray eel swam into the wrong hideout. It was already occupied by a purple-mouthed moray eel that was not too happy about a roommate. After a few aggressive bites, the spotted moray eel went on to find another spot. And speaking of territorial, this juvenile queen triggerfish didn't like a curious sharp-nosed puffer swimming around either. With just a small hole in the sandy shallows to use for protection, who can blame it? There's one site on Curaçao that is particularly known for its turtles, and it attracts a lot of snorkelers near the shore. We caught this group of 4 turtles taking a break in slightly deeper water near the drop-off. We imagined it was a staging area where turtles tag each other in for their time with the tourists. This being March, spring is in the air, and pufferfish were feeling the love. This clip falls into the bad video but proof we saw it category. It's 2 porcupine fish swimming together in the shallows, so we stopped to watch. It looked like it was some sort of mating ritual, or, at the very least, innocent underwater flirting. The next clip shows similar behavior. However, one was a porcupine fish, and the other was a balloon fish. We certainly haven't seen that combination before. Yes, this is the second sponge peppermint shrimp hiding in a branching vase sponge, but we tried shooting this one a bit differently. I recently saw a photograph using a technique to light a subject through the sponge, and thought I would try it here. Not bad for a first attempt, but trying to get a steady shot floating in the water column over a pretty narrow opening took about 15 minutes. At first glance, you may think this is a juvenile spotted trunkfish, but it's actually a juvenile honeycomb cowfish. Although both are light with dark spots, juvenile spotted trunkfish have a white or cream color base, whereas juvenile honeycomb cowfish are bright yellow. In case you're curious, this is what an adult honeycomb cowfish looks like. This one is pretty rare. We found a green neck crab hiding in a cluster of Christmas tree worms in the shallows. The surge was a bit strong that day, so getting long shots of it was challenging. This jewel urchin was a nice find. It was crawling out from its daytime hiding place and hypnotizing me with those moving black balls. If anyone knows what those are, please leave a comment below. As we were diving down a channel between reefs, we noticed a very small head poking through the sand. It turned out to be a spotted snake eel. Man, it would really be great to see the body sometime. It seems that sea life goes through cycles. We haven't seen juvenile spotted drums in quite a while, even before we went to Indonesia. So it was definitely nice to see a couple on Curaçao. Likewise, we haven't seen a flying gurnard in a long time as well. This one was hunting in the shallows, but what we were most excited to see were the pectoral fins extended to show their amazing coloring. They are the peacock of the sea. We also saw another seahorse. This one was mid-island and very bright orange. Typically, we look for them around rope sponges, sea rods, or other small anchor points. This one found some round coral under a ledge provided a good hiding place. Caribbean velvet shrimp are very skittish and bury themselves whenever they see our lights coming. Luckily, we were able to capture a couple of them on a few different night dives. Finally, we saw a Facebook posting about pink algae on Bonaire. That raised our awareness on Curaçao, and we did see it in spots here as well. Some places were blanketed. We're not sure if this is temporary and/or what the long-term impacts will be, but it certainly popped up quickly. We'll be paying attention over the summer to see how the situation progresses. As always, we appreciate your watching our videos and hope you enjoy them. If you feel your fingers getting a bit twitchy, consider stopping by that subscription button before heading off to the next video. Come to think of it, the like button is down there as well. And if you feel like flipping the tables and giving us some feedback, we would enjoy hearing from you. Thanks! Smiley face.